Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education, a podcast that focuses on what is happening in education today, connecting everyone to the movers and shakers that are breaking boundaries in the education arena.
Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education. Jamie and Jerri are very excited to be in person together.
That's right. That's always fun.
That's always fun. But we're even more excited to be at ISTE again. So this is so much fun. We're bopping around from place to place, going on podcasts, doing podcasts. We're going to record 2 here. We have another great one tomorrow. But I'm a little starstruck. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
We have a great one today.
Oh, we do. The last time I saw our guest, Adam Bellow, was on the stage at FETC. He was in a pink suit and was doing a Barbie movie theme keynote. Well, everyone listening to the keynote said he had to be lip syncing that. I saw him at the airport and I said, "You were lip syncing, weren't you?" Because it was phenomenal. And he said, "No, that was my voice." And I just couldn't believe it. It was amazing.
Well, first of all, thank you. Flattery will get you ever. My mom has checks in the mail to both of you, apparently.
Good.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
The joke of that whole thing is the first time I did that session at FTC, which is another conference I love. And
I do too.
Love it.
Jennifer Womble
Jen Womble.
She is the best.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jennifer.
Yes.
It's the first time I did that was literally the night before we went on and did Tech Share the first time. I was like, oh, it'll be funny. I'll do a little parody. And I did Imagine Dragons or something that was popular at the time. And then it stuck. And we've sadly done it multiple times. So,
everyone wants you to do that.
Or they say that just so I get footage on me online that embarrasses me. But yeah, anyway, it's lovely to see you. It's great to be at another ISTE.
Yeah,
it is.
And see you both.
Yeah, and we're here in the Mile High City. We are in Denver, Colorado.
Nice and toasty out there in the last couple of days.
Oh my gosh.
I think it feels good. I'm from Jersey, so this feels good to me.
Yes.
Well, it's been hot in Jersey. I'm in New York, and it's been really warm, so I was kind of prepped, but, the altitude and the heat.
I have to say, the last time I was here at ISTE, it snowed. This time of year, it snowed.
It snowed a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
so you never know. You never know.
Yes. Mountains in the distance.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, we were talking right before, and you said this is the first time at ISTE that you've had a booth presence.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about being in the exhibit hall.
For sure.
And tell us about your booth.
For sure. So, we've been coming to ISTE. I've been coming to ISTE for, I think this is my 15th in a row.
Wow.
And then, with Breakout, actually, last time we were in Denver, we actually bought a school bus and converted it into a mobile escape room and just parked out on the corner.
Amazing. I do remember that.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Which was awesome. But it also, I think ISTE would prefer that people were on the vendor floor and paying for a booth, so, which is totally understandable. Yeah. So this year we kind of were like, we wanted to be, have a new presence. So we're booth 2057. I don't know when this is airing. So if it's in the future, then,
in the future.
maybe,
right.
But that's good.
It was 2057. Still is. It's good to remember that. It's a small booth, and to be honest with you, the product, we've been around for a long time, and so the product's
how many
changed
years? It's been a while.
Yeah, we started unofficially 2015, but we really became our own company in 2016. We obviously, through the pandemic, we're mainly known for our physical experiences, but we're building digital, and starting in 2017. Obviously, a little thing in 2020 kind of forced us to go a little more digital. Yeah. But we've really leaned into making quality educational gaming experiences that really rely on kids using those 4C skills.
Yes.
And we've really been coming out with a whole bunch of new stuff. So the booth, we've made it look like an arcade. We have 3 full-size arcade cabinets.
I gotta go see it.
It's super fun.
Nice.
And they can play any of our new content, and we kind of show them what we've been up to lately. So it's a lot of fun.
So for people that don't know what Breakout is, what is? Tell us.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, we took the idea of an escape room.
Yes.
Which I think now everybody knows what an escape room is. When we started, they were like, panic room? Like when you get locked in the house? Like, no.
To clarify.
Yeah. Right. So, the idea is basically that learning and fun are not antonyms, that we want kids to be engaged.
100%.
When they're motivated, there's a story behind why they have to do something. It's not a worksheet. So we took that concept and started with locked boxes. Each lock was aligned to a piece of content. They would get puzzles laid out around the room, and they would have to work together to solve it and get out. So it's not like some of the other games that people play in the classroom where it's like racing to be the fastest to do multiple choice. We were like, what if they work together and excited? And it makes the classroom experience just much more engaging. And so we've recently come out with a whole bunch of new stuff. We have something called Lock of the Day, which we kind of explain like Wordle. but it's for students. They get a new puzzle every day. It's different content every day. Brilliant. So it's not the same thing. Yeah, it's super fun. Kids get level up. They get all sorts of prizes for their avatars.
Like the digital component.
Yeah,
that you have added on.
And we've been adding on new stuff too. I remember, we're all of a similar age bracket, played maybe point and click adventure games from Sierra or Lucasfilm.
Yes.
So I loved those games as a kid, and have been thinking for years. I was like, we should just do educational versions of that.
Yeah.
And so last year, we have one of our amazing game developers on staff who said, you know what, I'm going to take that on, and taught herself how to build these amazing games. And we've been releasing one large form game called Breakout Plus every single month since. So we have daily content. We have these longer form games, about 2,500 digital games available on our platform. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know, I had you
every day
on the ClassLink Partner Spotlight,
Correct.
And we got to talk about some of this. And I think what's so interesting is that I remember when Breakout EDU came out, I guess you said around 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone had to have it. It was such the rage. And I used to be president of an ed foundation, and we sponsored grants. And that's all the grants. Everyone wanted one for their classroom.
Yes.
So great. So then you said, you know, the pandemic hit and it kind of forced you to go digital a bit. So I think that's nice. You have a great balance. But I also think that now in the, the age of AI is upon us now in the, year and a half now.
Yes.
And I feel like there is more of a need for that human-centered connection, because all right, we've got the AI, it's in our face, we have it, we have to embrace it and coexist, but we also need to have more of those face-to-face, hands-on, manipulative, problem-solving, those future-ready skills. So I think this is going to be even more, and you're probably seeing that and feeling that here.
We are. We're seeing that, and it's we've always been a weird, different product in a good way.
Yes,
we've embraced it,
right?
And we still offer all of our kit-based experiences. We know that people play them, a couple times a year as a big capstone event for the classroom.
Yes,
sure.
And we've tried to build the digital experiences in the ethos of what that offered. So really leaning into the idea of like kids don't do it on their own. They're supposed to huddle around one computer and work together.
It's supposed to be
collaborate.
Yes.
So it's really, it's been a lot of fun. And ClassLink's been a great partner, getting more and more students on. I think we have a couple of million students that are using it on our platform now, which has really been great.
Yeah, easy access. That's so cool. That's incredible.
About 3 million, 4 million.
So great.
And they get to build their own games too, which I think, has always been something when
that's
when
the goal.
went digital.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like we want them to not just consume, but also create. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yes. That's the key.
They have to take care, solve the problems of the world. So you are cultivating that. I love it.
We're trying.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Well, we can't ignore the elephant in the room.
Sure.
On Twitter the other day, or X,
Twitter,
X?
whatever we want to call it.
Whatever we want to call it.
I put a post up and I said, let's do something different besides how many pieces of candy are in this jar. How many sessions at ISD have AI in them? Then Jen Womble, we were talking about her earlier, she knew someone that picked up on that and actually ran it through AI and found out it was 89% either had AI in the title or AI in the description. So you have been a leader in this area. Give us your thoughts. What
on AI in general, or
Yes. Where are we going? I mean, we're seeing so much of it,
Mr. Innovator. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll give you two different lenses. My first lens is I always look at things as the excited consumer, right? Like, I love what we can do with this technology. I am a huge fan of obviously creating new things and building new things, and it is incredible. I lean, I've seen the show before where people get scared of new technology. I've seen, whether it be cell phones or whether it be whatever it is. Like we've seen these waves before.
Right.
So I'm not worried about the technology taking our jobs and ruining teaching and all that stuff.
Right.
I do look at it as like, there's a million people that are doing a land grab, whether it be people talking about AI or whether it be companies trying to like get into the space.
Sure.
And everyone starts at the beginning, and the beginning is usually looking at replication. So, obviously it would be better not to, replicate poor 20th century pedagogy using the newest tools.
Right.
I think we will get past that phase very quickly. I think that that's a very entry level point that companies could do easily, people could latch on to easily. But what I'm most excited about is kind of the things that I think people are talking about with that fear factor of like, oh, you can make your own Pixar movie. It kills all the creativity and whatever. It's like, can you imagine how powerful that would be for students to be able to go in and actually create content that they want to consume and that they want to be proud of and make? And it requires different learning and different educational prompts. But I think it's just as valid as some of the stuff we've been doing. I used to teach high school English. I just was imagining in my head, I'm like, instead of writing a play, or I had the kids write a scene after reading one of the Shakespeare plays or whatever, what if they went on and actually just wrote it with ChatGPT or some sort of AI component and then turned it into a film using any of these new tools that are coming out, which are incredible.
And that would have been unthinkable, right? So they would have gotten to that point with creativity and problem solving and going through those phases. But the iteration that would take to get to that level, it wouldn't have happened. And now it strips that and allows, still with creativity, a ton of it, but getting them to a whole other level that was inconceivable.
And I think the joke is that some of the tools, like I remember tools when I was in middle school where you could do this manually, and it was, you know,
took a long time.
Of course.
The rendering was like,
of course, things like Poser, you know, to build single forms that were 3D factored models, things like there were movie making tools that were literally drag and drop tools that were easy to use. Students had to go through them. I'd rather have them focus on actual academic components. What is the writing of it? What is the story arcs? What are, you know, like, what is the pieces that make things quality? Rather than having to struggle through the mechanic of a tool. And I've always said that, you know, the tool is great, but marry the ability. Don't marry the tool, because tools change constantly. And all this AI stuff, like, I'm sure, you know, watching like things like the Apple keynote that they did at WWDC a couple of weeks ago. And that was, to me, one of those turning points where it's like all of them, Google's doing it too, all of the things that are devices that they're trying to sell as AI devices, or all the things that a lot of people are building products around, will be features in all of our devices imminently. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to give a lot of opportunities for teachers, even more opportunities for students to be creative, and let's embrace it.
A bit too.
100%.
Any ideas how we can change our pedagogy and what we're teaching?
Oh, if I knew that, I'd be in a different business.
We really need to have deeper conversations about AI, other than the, like you said, the substitution level. And
but it always starts there. It always starts there.
Fine to start there.
It has to get people comfortable.
To get them comfortable, 100%. I mean, I always think of a funny line that Kevin Honeycutt, who's a friend, good speaker, says on our podcast. He always said, if you want to change education, just burn the filing cabinets. So he always talks about the idea of like burn the legacy of what these teachers say. It stuck with me for probably 15 years.
That's so true.
I love it. And it's one of those things where teachers don't have enough time to really embrace and play. And I think I've always said this when I've worked with school districts and schools. Listen, you could bring in all the tools you want. You can give them all the licenses and all the toys and all the software and all the hardware. If they don't have time to try one thing at a time, instead of like, hey, it's summer PD, welcome back. We bought these 12 tools. They need time to understand how to evaluate and use it and fail with it.
Well, AI literacy is not just for students. It's start with the teachers.
Correct.
We need to give them that space. We had another person on our podcast, Darren Coxon. He's from the UK. I follow him on LinkedIn and learn a lot from him. So we asked him on, and he made a statement, and it really resonated with me. He said, we're calling this the AI revolution, but in education, it's the AI evolution, and that's okay. It should be that way. It really should. So, we just have to take our time and use, again, I mean, it just has to be about how it's going to work for me as a teacher, how it's going to work for my students. Pick what works for you, and just be married to the process and the ability.
I mean, there is a privacy concern that I'm 100% on board as a parent.
And that's where the district is responsible, and teachers too, because sometimes teachers go rogue, right? And they pick a tool, but really it is so important for that digital privacy and security and that vetting to be. And there are great questions that I've heard. And maybe you have some ideas, like what should people be asking?
Well, I think it's not, I mean, I don't know what people are asking individually, but I think collectively, and there are people that are forming consortiums, and there's lots of people that are, they're friends of mine that are creating great books. I mean, Carl Hooker came out with a great book. There's so many great books that are coming out.
Ken
talking
Shelton,
about it. Ken just came out one. There's tons of them. And I think that like those are conversation starters for districts and for schools to kind of explore. Not that there are always challenges, but look at the challenges as opportunities and say, all right, well, how can we work our way through this? And if there's a stumbling block on it, that's okay to pause for a minute and try to figure it out. But I think that like running away from it, as we've seen with all these other fads, I mean, I literally, and I know I'm not calling AI a fad, but I'm saying I've seen this wave in the show before.
Of course, long enough.
So we know what's going to happen. It'll just become commonplace. I think it's really focusing on like, how do you embrace things in a way that is more focused on what you gain rather than what you lose. Not to say that privacy is not a concern. You obviously need to keep our students secure and safe as well as their data and everything else. And that is a big one. But I think the conversations are more about like, how do you let teachers embrace it on their, not I want to say on terms, but like in a way that's safe. And they're so overloaded with so many things. Don't mandate it and make courses and whatever. Like just, hey, we're going to have a experience where you can go through and learn how to do this new tool. Use some of the stuff. Let's touch it in a month or whatever. I think pedagogy in schools needs to continue to evolve, because a lot of times the PD is like rapid fire,
right?
And there's no follow through, which is the part that really kills it.
And there's 100%. Been a little bit of good news in that area. I have heard many teachers are really invigorated by this, and I've even heard a couple of them have said they were ready to retire, but this kind of lit their fire, and they're ready to stay in a little longer.
That's awesome.
I love that. I love hearing that. And I love hearing the teacher's point of view, because that's where the work happens.
Yeah, it is. And I think those people advocating that are willing to not only get rejuvenated by it, but like, that's so heartening, because it's been such a hard few years. I mean, for everybody, but teachers in specific. So I think it's great to have like something that they can latch onto is like fun and exciting, and hopefully making the job easier, even if it starts with replication, but also then being those people that start as replicators, take it further, as teachers always do.
Once they get comfortable with it, that's when they can innovate. That's when they think, that's when those light bulbs go off.
See the possibilities.
They have to get comfortable with it.
And it will,
foundation.
And it will evolve. Like, I mean, I think even ChatGPT, like a couple of months ago now, or almost a year ago now, allowed everyone to build their own, GPTs. So as soon as teachers start making repositories of all these, and it's happening already, but that's going to get bigger and better, and it will be the new sharing. And I think that's going to be a real benefit to everyone in the space.
Yeah, it's just amazing how fast it's happening. I mean, really.
Well, buckle up, because it's definitely it's still going, I think, towards the top of the roller coaster.
I think so too.
It's exciting. It is so. I mean, I'm excited every day. It's really amazing. And I mean, like, teachers, they are a little hesitant. Started out with the whole like cheating thing. Okay, well, now reevaluate how you're assessing instead. And some just don't want to hear that. I was talking to a supervisor who's really struggling with that. And then I was talking with a teacher language arts teacher, who said, it's going to break creativity. No one's going to be able to. And then she kind of thought about it, and, also dealing with the struggle of cell phones again is another big conversation. So she kind of said, all right, look, I'm fighting them with TikTok and the video games. Kids are like actually doing video games in class. So instead I decided, and they blocked AI in her school. So here she's like, we're not teaching them how to use it, but so she just said, I'm at the intersection of all of this. And so she was frustrated. She didn't know what to do. She said, all right, that's it. Let's find a tool that we can use, and I want you to write a story. And then she had them write the story had the AI write the story, whatever tool. I think they were using Pi, because I showed her it, and it wasn't blocked because they didn't know about it. And then they used it, and then but you do have to be 17, and they were 17-year-olds. But she had them then like, okay, now I want you to do story arcing with that. And let's see what the story, and it really didn't do a great job. So then they were able to use what it didn't do in the story arcing to make modifications. And then she realized, okay, I get it now.
It won't ruin creativity. It will change creativity.
Right.
It will change it.
But
I
it'll
think
get us
also
to a better spot.
I think we can embrace those changes, because it will, as you said, democratize a lot of those abilities. Like if you have a kid that's really good at art or music, it's not going to make them not want to do their own art and music, but it's going to allow other kids to start dabbling and being more confident in the ability to try these things out. And that's, I think, is really awesome.
I love it. I love it.
I was talking to someone today, and they said, the art piece is really cool right now, but would you want any of that on your wall? And I said, no, I don't think so. Not at this juncture.
No.
Yes, so I think it will continue to evolve and get better.
Yeah.
But
I mean, some of it's pretty cool. Like we actually,
it is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean,
it's getting better.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely gotten better. And the best, the quote that I've heard multiple times, I'm sure you've heard it too, is, this is the worst it will ever be.
Yes.
You think about that, it's very true. And I think with the cheating thing, Richard Collada had a great quote yesterday or the other day where he was talking about cheating, and it's like, he debunked the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't remember, I don't want to misquote him,
but cultural.
It's definitely cultural. And I think that's the everything is like, putting up a wall is very easy, because you just are like, all right, I can ignore it and be done with it. Yeah. But it's like, give it a shot, try it, see where those like, it's not good at this or that, and I could kind of mold it and make it.
Right.
it definitely is a mind shift change. It's that growth mindset that we've always been talking about in education. It's just, it goes back to the ability for the teacher to have time to look at it, embrace it, figure out a way to make it work in the classroom. And if they're not ready for it yet, that's okay too. Like, it's not the thing that you have to push on everybody. It's just going to become omnipresent.
Yeah.
So the more we embrace it or play with it sooner is better.
We're going to be coexisting with it, so get comfortable.
We actually just added, as a partner for Breakout, we have Adobe Express. So kids can actually.
I was going to ask you if there's any type of integrations that you're doing. That's brilliant.
So Adobe
and
Express,
that's really caught on again. Adobe Express is going crazy right now.
I mean, here it is.
I have a meeting with them in a little while. Actually.
Their booth is exploding.
Yes.
Which is awesome. The abilities that product gives you is a lot of those creativity tools. There's a lot of AI components that you can use, and students in our platform can come in. They'll log in with their class link. They'll get in. They'll go, of course. Then they'll go to make a game for their other students to play, so they can actually build their own game, as we were talking about before. But the clues they could design, if they don't want to build their own clues or pull them in from other places, they could go right into Adobe Express in our platform, build whatever they want, use their AI tools, and then put it out into the content. So it's pretty awesome.
I love interoperability. I love integrations. I mean, it changes everything. And I love how we all play so well in the sandbox that way, because it just brings this innovation for students and just takes away all those boundaries. I love it.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it. I love it. So great.
Well, aside from AI, what have you been excited about at ISTE?
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, ISTE is one of those. It was a life-changing conference that I went to 15 years ago. So the thing I'm most excited about is reconnecting with friends.
Yes.
And learning from people that have. Oh yeah. I mean, the community, the PLN at the time, Twitter was in its early days, and I remember actually at Denver 2010 tweeting out, like, I'm going to go to Casa Bonita. It was this weird restaurant that I loved as a child.
Me too.
All these people decided to come with me, like random strangers I talk to every, once in a while, and I see them every year at ISTE. So that's the number one thing, I think. Obviously, here as a company sharing Breakout and getting excited about that. Yeah. What I'm really excited about is also it feels like the space is kind of growing back again a little bit. Yeah. So the last couple of years, obviously, the pandemic, things felt a little different and down. And I know there's a lot of talk about funding and teacher changes in terms of staffing and the, ESSER money and all that stuff. But like, it feels like the vibe here is there are people that are excited, whether it be about AI, 89% of the sessions you said, wild, or just being able for those new people to make those connections.
New people. I was shocked in the opening how many people stood up in that room. I mean, it was like 75%. Yeah. I was thinking that was very exciting. I mean, it just shows that there is that excitement, this rejuvenation, and
for those people,
wonderful.
Almost, not jealous of them, but almost just excited for them that they're starting their journey that we all had when we started back when. So that's awesome to me to see those new people. Yeah.
And I love that ISTE has the virtual component too, so that people that can't be here. Because there is a lot of FOMO if you can't be here.
100%. The Not at ISTE stuff is, I think it's maybe 6 years ago or whenever that started. I mean, before the pandemic, I think they had a Not at ISTE option.
They did.
And they've been doing a great job. I mean, as an organization, I feel like it's one of those things where again,
inclusive that way.
Oh yeah, it's been wonderful. We actually
the funding.
Oh, of course, you can't have the funding or time off. Like I'm in New York, so my kids have school till tomorrow. So a lot of New York teachers couldn't come because they are still in school until tomorrow. Yeah. But we, even our booth has a Not at ISTE presence where it's like, if you want to play the games, you could still, we'll mail you the swag, we'll do whatever.
I love that.
Yeah. So
that is so kind of you to think of the people that can't come.
Well, we want everyone to have the chance to learn about it. Obviously, it's a great thing for us, but also just thinking about the fact that, I've had conferences. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to, and all my friends were there, and I'm like, I want to learn. I want to see those people. I want to know what's going on. So
Good, very good. Well, I'm so glad that you carved out time for us.
Oh, please, it was my pleasure.
Appreciate that so much. And I'm going to come play at your booth in a little while.
You should, definitely.
Yes, we will be there.
Awesome, for sure.
Yes.
Thanks so much. It was great to sit down and chat.
It was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. And if you would like to stay linked up, be sure to follow us on Apple and Spotify, and subscribe to us on YouTube.